My baby looking too good, yeah, she perfect. No, she worth it. When she pull up, all them man, them flirting. And yeah, she know that she a dime. Call up on my line. Told her, baby, bring it one time. Yeah. Just sit down and relax.
Yo, what's really good, Dosey Girl Yezzir? You are locked in to another banging episode of Hey Sis UK. Any others out there? Fake. They are so fake. There's no need to even talk about it, but if you see it, go ahead and report it for me. Before we get into anything, make sure you're doing the important stuff. We're doing the housekeeping right now. You need to make sure you follow us on Instagram, HeySis_UK, Spotify, Hey Sis UK, and obviously you need to join the family before we officially launch. That is www.heysisuk.co.uk. That is the place to join the family. Now, I'm happy to announce, and you will see it sprinkled throughout the season, our newest sponsor for our new season of Hey Sis UK is Chapman's of London. If you want a drink for my girlies, okay? Some people, you can drink water all year round. Congratulations for you. But the people that want a little bit of flavour in between, especially low calories and some bitters, yeah, to help the digestive system. Because I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. Some of us, we eat with our eyes, not with our stomach. And you need something to help along the way, but you want to taste. Sometimes you might want to mix up with a little something inside. Chapman's of London is what I'm talking about. You're going to see it right here. I'm going to do a close-up. Because you know we're doing the clean girl aesthetic, very cutesy, very nice, very demure, very mindful. Look at this packaging right here. And the fact that I can just slip it into my handbag, slip it into a clutch, very cute, pop it on the go, because I'm a girl that's on the go and I need something that makes sense. This makes sense. And you know I'm about to hit up a beach very soon. So low calories, that's a bit of me. That's a bit of me. And there's only one thing I want to see you drinking Chapman's of London out of. That's the Hey Sis mug. Right here, you can get it. Link down below. Go to the shop. You see all the other cutesy stuff that we have. So make sure you got your mug. Because we're spilling the tea. Make sure you're nice and comfy because we're about to get into it. If you are wondering, okay, Yezzi, all this talk, what are we going to talk about? Well. On today's show, we are going to be talking about the Brits. Yes. Now, when I say this from a place of love, no hate, no shade, but I'm being very direct. You know when you love someone, you got to tell them the truth. Well, Brits, I'm looking at you. I got to tell you the truth. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the winners on the night, specifically Stormzy, because we're going to talk about the category that he won in. My issue is that a lot of people, and let's just say it's coming from a place of ignorance. However, when we're talking about the Brits, this is the biggest music award show of the year. When you're talking about England, it's the Brits. You want to win yourself a Brit. Yeah, there's the Mercury Awards. Yeah, there's the Mobos. But if we're going to call a spade, it's a Brit that you're looking at if you are a Brit. Okay, you want to win a Brit if you're a Brit. However, the judging panel, the organisers, I don't know who's in charge of this, but we're going to need to put some respect on the hip-hop culture. Because what you're not going to do is you're not going to take a culture, take a music, take a genre, sub-genres, and then smush them together and say, here you go. Because it's giving very performative. And when I feel like the inclusivity, the attempt to be inclusive is performative, it puts me off respecting your brand as a whole. Because how the heck are you going to put UK hip-hop and grime together? As in UK rap and grime together. These are two different styles. Yes, they come under the umbrella of hip-hop, but as subgenres, they are different. And one of them is being homegrown in England. So you would think if there was anything to give its own category to, it would be grime, no? Okay, so let me say this from a place of love, because I might be your big sis or your little sis, but I'm always going to keep it real with you like a sister. Hip-hop is a culture. Now, within the culture that is hip-hop, you're going to have all the elements that make it. You're going to have rapping. That's the vocal style. That's what it's called, to rap. I'm rapping to somebody. I'm speaking to someone in a melodic fashion. After rap, you've got, and in no particular order, you've got breakdancing. That is the dance style, okay? You might see a little popping and locking, okay? Clowning. All these things come from breakdancing within the hip-hop culture. You have the art form, yeah, actual artistic drawings. That's graffiti. You would typically see this on brick walls in inner cities, but we have gone so far. Shout out to Banksy, okay? After the graffiti, you have DJing, disc jockey. You're going to have the person with the vinyls. Now, if they've got a real skill set, they're going to be doing the style of scratching. that's DJing for you. And then shout out to one of the OGs in the game, Legends, KRS-One, who has been amplifying the aspect of knowledge of self, okay? Knowing yourself, being able to carry yourself in a certain manner. Now, that knowledge of self aspect of hip-hop, we'll talk about it another day, another episode, because that has some depths to it. But within the knowledge of self, there's elements within it. And let me just get the elements for you, actually, because I don't want to misquote myself, but I want this to be a conversation that by the end of the episode, you go, whoa, I can see why they want to have the respect that's due, because there's a lot of things to this than just the music. This is a culture. This is a movement. This is something that's been going on for 50 years. And God willing, we got another 50 years and beyond. So when we talk about the aspect within hip hop and we talk about knowledge of self, the elements within that is this. So within knowledge of self, you have the lifestyle, the movement, the philosophy, heavy on the philosophy of it. And that is self-awareness, understanding your history, your identity, and your purpose. You've got empowerment, where you use hip hop as a tool for personal or community upliftment. Now, if you know the history of hip hop, is very much in a city, very much motivating. Don't worry about what the media tries to put forth to hip hop, making it look like it's just a superficial and materialistic genre. And yeah, there's sides to hip hop that can be like that. I mean, why shouldn't we be allowed to toot our horn? And if you work hard in life, if you want to wear the diamond necklaces and wear the luxury materials and drive the latest cars, you should be allowed to do that. Especially when you've come from nothing and you made something of yourself. Go ahead and toot your horn. Then you've got the truth and authenticity. Now, that is staying real to your experiences and telling your own story. Now, if we're talking about storytelling, now you know that's where hip hop is from. And then we've got the social justice and revolution, and that is challenging oppression and standing against systemic injustice. Now, we know, and we're not shy, sorry guys, I have to put this on silent, that when it comes to standing against systemic injustice, I'm going to talk up the things. And for me, I feel like this is another injustice. And the thing about England and UK, the UK, we have this style of saying, oh, you know, it's not that deep. Nah, man, it's not that deep. Like, is it really that deep? But sometimes it's that deep. And for me, what went on with the Brits, and, you know, congratulations, you know, you put together a show time and time again, you have performances. However, I'm going to need the execution to be a lot better, considering how far we've come. So I've spoken to you about hip hop being a culture, the elements that make hip hop. And then I want to talk to you about the subgenres, because this is the issue that we're going through. The thing is, you have hip hop, you have rap, which is the vocal style to rap to somebody. Now, the subgenres that you have within rap music is you've got grime. The reason why these things are distinctive and they're different styles and whatnot and what have you is because from the beat to the way someone dresses to the way someone will rap, the context of what they're rapping about, the delivery about what they're rapping about is going to be very different, regardless of the fact of it coming under one umbrella. So you have grime music, you have drill, you have UK rap, you have jungle, you have garage, you've got so many things. So, and if you want to talk about the times when we'll talk about, you know, the gospel rappers and the conscious rappers and the backpack rappers and the underground rap and the mainstream rap, unless you're of the culture and you know of the culture, you can only speak of these things and know them by distinction. You don't even need to see somebody. You can hear them and you know, yo, this brother's this type of rapper. You can't compare rappers and pull it out of nowhere and say, okay, one size fits all. To be a rapper and to rap is not a monolith. And I know people are going to go, well, ain't they just the same thing? No, it's not the same thing. But unless you take an interest in something, you're going to go and be very passive towards it. And for me, it's a very flippant manner to say, oh, yeah, best grime and UK rap artist of the whole year. And there's some people that wasn't even nominated. Come on now. Let's be serious. That's why I say I want to see who's in the rooms. The reason why I want to see is who's in the rooms is I want to know that when I look around this room, who represents us, who's speaking on our behalf. Because I'm not saying you have to necessarily look like me, but you have to love and respect the culture that I come from and the people that produce this type of music. And that's hip hop, that's rapping, that's knowing what we're doing. Otherwise, you're always going to miss the mark. This year, I feel like the Brits missed the mark, and you didn't miss the mark with who you gave the accolade to. I'll never question another man's success. But when we talk about the people behind this, the infrastructure, the companies, the people in these rooms, we need to talk about it. I've been on the judging panel for the Mobo Unsung. And I have seen things that I might not necessarily agree with, but I said to myself, if I'm going to be in this room and I'm representing hip hop, the only thing that I can do, my first priority here, is to make sure I represent the culture that I'm representing, and that's hip hop. So when we're speaking on artists from different genres, yeah, I'm going to speak on it because I'm well versed in the art of music. But in particular, hip hop, I'm going to talk up the things. And the people that have seen me in these rooms, they know I don't cap. So I'm going to speak on this. I want to go for a journey with you, and I'm going to say the reason why we need to speak up when things are important is because we won't be able to make the strides we're making now. Some would say it would be unfair for me to compare the UK to the US, but the reason why the US continues to make strides is because they try to speak up as and when they can. Let's go back to 1989. The Grammys decides to finally acknowledge a very popular drama, a very popular genre. Okay? When we transport to 1989, the Grammys decides to acknowledge a very important genre, that genre being hip hop. But there's a problem with it. The Grammys decides that we will acknowledge it, we will announce nominations, but we're not going to televise it. Meaning that even if you come all the way to wherever it's being hosted, you win an award, you might not even get on the main stage. You might not even get backstage. But here you go, here's your award in the post. It doesn't work like that. So you know what happened? You have people like the Fresh Prince. You might know him formerly as Will Smith. You got DJ Jazzy Jeff. You got Salt and Pepper. Now Salt and Pepper's here. LL Cool J, Kool Moe Dee. They decide to do a party saying Bunda, as in, if you're not going to acknowledge us, we're not going to go. It's hosted by Russell Simmons of Def Jam. It's presented by Fab Five Freddy. Mind you, Fab Five Freddy was always already getting checks. He was getting checks from MTV when he was on the Yo MTV Raps. Now, there's certain man that, if you say to them, yo, let's plan to kind of rebel against this thing until they respect us, they'll say, yo, I'm getting a check by, MTV, big conglomerates, the check clears. I'm not trying to mess up that situation. But he didn't do that. He put his culture first. He put his community first. And what happened? When they said we're not going to go somewhere, we're not going to be acknowledged properly, as in you will televise us when we win these awards, we will be on the main stage and we'll be holding that trophy and giving out speeches, and we will be given the same regard as every other category. They did that party and they were acknowledged. Did you not see the Grammys that just passed? Now, mind you, if the Fresh Princes, the Will Smiths, the LL Cool J's, the Salt and Peppers, the Kool Moe Dees, if they didn't do that then, we might not have seen a Kendrick Lamar on stage today. And that's how important it is to speak up when people are not respecting you. I'm not talking about someone giving you scraps and you're satisfied. No, if I want it presented in a certain way, you're going to do that because we all put in the work for this culture. They'll tell you, what about the numbers? Did you see Kendrick win at the Grammys? You had people from all genres, from your Taylor Swifts to your Miley Cyruses, from country to pop. They were all singing his hit song from a rapper in the culture that is hip hop. The only way we're going to do that is if we make sure we are respected at every point. We need to demand the respect. It's not given. Sometimes you have to grab it, especially if you look like us. So when I see my brothers and sisters being very satisfied with being pacified by the BRIT Awards, I say it's not enough. We can't sit here and be grateful when someone smushes together two subgenres to give us one award. Especially when grime is UK, homegrown. I mean, if there's anything that you're going to give its own standalone category to, it would be grime, no? Unless you don't rate it. Okay, let's go into the business side of things. You want to say it's a numbers game, that the numbers don't lie. Let's talk about the numbers then. There's been multiple platinum, multi-platinum, double platinum singles that have come out of the UK that have contributed to the success of the UK music industry. The same people that will say, oh, look at our biggest export coming out of England. Yes, it's not Great Britain if you don't talk about us, if you don't talk about hip hop. Hey, I see you watching. Yeah, I see you watching. I see you even sipping on a little bit of Chapman's of London. But you haven't liked, you haven't subscribed, and I know you haven't dropped a comment. I'm going to give you a bit of time to do that while I sip on this. Ooh, yeah, that's enough time. Let's get back to the episode. Let's go through the list of some of these songs that have contributed heavily to the UK music scene. Because you know me, I'm going to talk about it. So let's talk about it. So first and foremost, Tiny Temper Pass Out. Okay? UK #1, platinum. Stormzy with Vossi Pop. Yeah? Vossi Pop. UK #1, platinum. We're going to talk about Dave, Funky Friday featuring Fredo, UK #1. You had Sam Smith singing that song. That's how influential hip hop music is. So when I talk about influence and I talk about hip hop and I talk about giving it its respect, you need to. Because from influence to culture to the numbers game, hip hop represents and rises every time. Let's keep going. You got Tion Wayne and Russ Millions with Body, UK #1 and a viral hit. There's a lot of labels that are praying for their artists to be relevant enough to have viral hits on platforms. Some of your biggest social media platforms, your TikToks, your Instagrams, whatnot. And you got Man from the Ends doing it like that. So put some respect on it. And you got AJ Tracy with Ladbrick Grove. Now that went multi-platinum and it's a UK garage revival. How many artists can say that they've taken the genre that isn't as relevant, isn't as popular today, and say, I'm going to do it well, and I'm going to sell singles, and I'm going to go platinum? You do realize it goes bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond. Put some respect on the brother's name. But you don't want to acknowledge subgenres. I can't say it's from a place of ignorance because I know for a fact that the Brits has the tools. It has the connections to say, yo, we want the best of the best to give their opinion on this thing right now. So when you don't do that, for me, it's disregard. It's a slap in the face. And the thing is, you want to give regard and high accolades to pop music. And I have no problem with pop music because it still remains that the king of pop is Mr. Michael Jackson, God rest his soul. So I don't care. Pop ain't got no problem with pop. We all love a nice pop tune, a little bounce, a little pep to your step. However, if you're going to give pop its accolades, let's not forget the amount of times that British pop acts have had to delve into the fountain of youth, had to give a little sign of salute and respect so they can get some cool points when it comes to hip hop as a culture. From your Robbie Williams, from your Cheryl Coles, your Ed Sheerans, your Rita Oras. And I like Ed Sheeran because he gives a salute and respect and regard when it comes to hip hop. But these are some of the biggest stars in the country that typically make pop music that have had to jump into the hip hop pool so they can either revive their careers, sustain it, or just seem cooler. Because when we're talking about being cool, you're going to talk about hip hop. So give the respects. And people are going to say, oh, you just grabbed names out of the sky. Okay, if I've grabbed names out of thin air, I'm going to talk about some of these songs. You're going to research them and you're going to be like, rah, that is a hip hop song. Because there are some people, and we can go as far back as Blondie. Put some respect on it. There are some people that will borrow from hip hop influence, hip hop style, hip hop delivery and say, oh, it's not a hip hop tune. Now I know hip hop when I hear it. Let's not cap. So we're going to look at British pop records with hip hop features, rap elements. Robbie Williams, Rock DJ. I mean, the guy literally raps in the song. So someone definitely wrote it for him that understands the culture. There's somebody said, oh, you know, Robbie, we need to tap into this because this is what's hot. And he did that. Shout out to Robbie as well. You got Cheryl Cole with 3 words featuring will.i.am. I mean, when it comes to production, will.i.am is heavily rap influence. He's a rapper himself. He comes from Black Eyed Peas, which is a hip hop group. Come on now. Revived her career when she was going through the whole, messy breakup and this and that. will.i.am resuscitated it. Facts is facts. Ed Sheeran, Take Me Back to London, featuring Stormzy. Big tune. Okay, and then you got Rita Ora with R.I.P. featuring Tiny Temper. From the beat to the rap verse itself. So when I say respect hip hop, it's like okay, hip hop's good enough to help sell pop records, but we don't want to really give it its accolades. Like, you good when we need to sell something. No, because if you're going to use us, it's going to be a vice versa situation. As in, vice versa, it's going to be transactional from both sides. You're not going to use hip hop when you want to seem cool and relevant. Then when it's time to give hip hop respects, you go on like you can't accommodate for it. No, that's not going to work. And that's why we need to speak up, so we can have the regard and the accolades, and we can get the big checks, and we can get the acknowledgement when it counts, even when it doesn't count, because we deserve it. We're talking about a genre that has been growing and building for 50 years, even when people try to tear it down. Show me a genre where people have fought hard for it not to be a success that still prevails against the rest, with as much as a strong influence that hip hop has. Oh, wait. Yeah. Okay. So let's keep going. Because the reason why I'm saying this, and a lot of people will be like, oh, you know what, Yezzi, you tend to talk about all these things but no solutions. Fam, when someone has put out and laid a blueprint, why wouldn't we go ahead and take something from that to help us? There's people that I still say are being robbed of nominations, and that's for an episode for another day. But when we're talking about acknowledgement, just from the baseline of subgenres and genres in itself, you're gonna get this right. First things first, I think we should take a leaf out of our brothers and sisters across the pond. Yes, I'm talking about the situation that happened in 1989. I'm talking about, how about we just don't attend? And let's not act like some of our rappers, and I'm not trying to get onto people, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. Some of you lot don't rate the Mobos. You don't attend the Mobos, but we see your asses at the Brits. And it's the same argument that they have with our brothers and sisters across the pond. There's some black artists who will not attend the BRIT Awards, but they'll be at the Grammys, they'll be at the MTVs. I'm not here to judge, but what I'm saying is that you're already pick and choose. And if you're going to choose an award show to go to, at least go to the one that respects you. Brits is about British music. The Mobos is about music of black origin. If you feel like your schedules clash, because you know some of the stars like to use the excuse of schedules clash, that's cool, that's fine, whatever. But at least if you're going to go to the Brits, get some respect. So first and foremost, if we have a room full of some of our most talented people, talented rappers, and they say, you know what, we're not attending the Brits until they start to put some respect on us and categorize us correctly and precisely. If you don't know how to do that, hire the talent that can. So we need a best UK hip hop album. We need best grime act, best hip hop newcomer. We need best UK rap act. Categorize it correctly. And I'm not saying you have to cater for every category. There might be up to 10 subgenres, but at least do the main 2, the main 3 to show that you care. Show us that Brits, when you include what you would call typical urban music, be inclusive and do it right, or don't do it at all, because the performative inclusivity is becoming very disingenuous. And if there's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to call it out. Because you can cater. You can cater for these things. Even if some things are televised, some things aren't televised. Because even the Grammys, not every category is being televised. But we're talking about acknowledgement. We're talking about accolades being given adequately. And if you can't do that, tell us why. Tell us why. It's not as if hip-hop isn't a very lucrative and very influential culture. It's not as if some of the biggest acts in the country aren't rappers. So what's the excuse for missing the mark time after time? However, these things aren't going to change if the people that matter, that are making the changes, the movers and shakers, aren't speaking. Yeah, I can say something, but how much more powerful would it be if someone else said something, and then people in numbers said something? But that's when we as a community, we have to come together, because we can't keep being satisfied with the bare minimum, because we deserve better than that. So, first and foremost, we don't attend the Brits until they get it right. And we lay it out to them that, oh, you know what, this year, we're going to need you to categorize us properly. I would say being vocal about it. When people forget about who won the award, because that's great. But let's talk about the structure of it. Let's speak on that as well. Because I think it needs to be said. It has to be said. And we have to remember that because we are a culture that in the boardrooms. I don't like it, but the boardrooms are the ones that label it this. Because we are an urban culture, our fight is a different fight. Sometimes we have to pick at things, because if we don't pick at the small things, they become big things. And when sometimes things get too big, it's hard to control after a while. So let's do that. Let's speak up, let's correct, and let's give that constructive criticism so we're able to make the strides we need to make. Again, I'm not comparing us like for like with the US. However, I do feel like when it comes to the UK scene and we talk about our music and our genres of black origin, I believe that we should be further than where we are. Some people are grateful, but that's just me. I'm a visionary. I'm going to think decades ahead of time. And yes, I can call myself that because I know the work I put in behind the scenes, and I see how hard people work, including myself. And I know what our counterparts are getting. I know what our counterparts are achieving. So when I say we deserve that as well, it's not because I'm laying on my back and saying give it to us. It's because we're putting in the work, so we deserve it. Let's start with this, because now the conversation is about, oh, this person should have won, this person shouldn't have won. Again, that's a conversation to be done another time. But my issue is how we are being structured and how we are funneled into spaces that we are the minority, but our influence is strong and mighty is definitely the majority to me. So before we go any further, guys, let me know what you think about the categorizing of the BRIT Awards as of recent. Put it in the comment section. Don't be shy. Make sure you sign up to our mailing list for now before the website becomes live. www.heysisuk.co.uk. Make sure you follow us. That's where the family's at. Instagram, heysis_UK. We're on Spotify. Hey Sis UK. Get yourself some of the merch. Not to mention our latest sponsor, Taste It, Chapman's of London. Let me know what you think of it. I'm liking it, so I know you'll love it. You've been listening or watching to another banging episode of Hey Sis UK. Make sure you stay blessed.
I undress and he blows success. Lay down as you decompress. Come mind and forget the stress. But the 9 to 5, cause he tryna change his life. He can't help it but to show his bad side. So he call me Yezzi when he want that good ride. Follow my stride, you know you want a good time. Pick any card, I know it won't decline. He know how to please me, never tease me. Keep me in Givenchy, laced in Gucci. Quick, take the keys and drive to Chelsea. He Escalini.